Hey everybody, Happy New Year. Hopefully your New Year's Eve and New Year's Day was good. Mine was quiet, which I never complain when I have a quiet holiday without any drama or anything. My life has been so much drama the last several decades that I always relish when it's not. So, New Year, what does that mean? Well, it means a new slate for one thing. Clean slate, start new. A lot of people start New Year's resolutions. Um, I have in the past and have never fulfilled them. I go, if I'm lucky, a week or two, and then I fade. And then it's like, you know, I get discouraged and I say, the heck with it. And as a person who has ADHD, executive dysfunction, that makes it even more difficult to get a routine going. And it's kind of funny because I do way better in a routine, but yet it's hard for me to create a routine and stay in that routine. It's kind of a conundrum thing because there was a time I despised anything remotely dealing with a schedule other than, obviously work or something like that. But dealing with my personal life, I hated schedules. I hated the thought of routine. I I liked kind of winging it per se, not really having any plans. Somebody say, "Oh, what's your plans for the day?" Don't have any, other than work or whatever. But since going through all the therapy I've been going through, I've discovered that I do better with routines, even if it's um a loose routine, where it's not doing the same thing every day, but generally the same thing. Like, wake up at 7, go to work by 10, you know, that sort of thing. Come home, cook dinner. You get the idea. And so, I don't know, about a month or two ago, I started trying to establish a routine in my life, even if it's just changing one thing. And I got this idea from a lady I follow on Instagram. Well, two ladies actually. One is Simple Purpose. Let me see if I can say this. Simple Purposeful Living. She's on Instagram. Her name is Erin. She's absolutely fantastic. She comes up with some wonderful ideas of how to create routine and discipline. And then Money Saving Mom. She's also wonderful at helping come up with ideas to get in a routine and stay in a routine, help rem- get things done. You need to have a list during the day of what you need to do, and helps you come up with ways. And it's wonderful. I highly recommend those if you have an Instagram account. And one of the things that they both talked about, I think it was Simple Purposeful Living that came up with it first. I don't know, but they both have said it, that stacking habits, it was about getting into habits that you know you need to do but it's hard for you to remember or hard to get into that habit. So it talked about, they talked about stacking habits one to the other. Um, One habit I'm not too proud of is I'd always brush my teeth in the morning because, you wake up in the morning, your mouth is like, ugh. But I would forget to brush my teeth at night. So I also kept forgetting to take vitamins in the morning. And I need my vitamins. The vitamins I take have actually helped me when I take them regularly. So what I started doing was the people more often than not take vitamins in the morning. I'm not a morning person. I If it wasn't the fact that breathing is automatic, I'd probably forget to breathe in the morning. So that's why I kept forgetting to take my vitamins. So I stacked it with the habit of brushing my teeth at night. And the third one was washing my face because I wouldn't bother washing my face at night. Um, and you need to wash your face at night and everything. So I stacked those three. I started off first week. I started off with remembering to brush my teeth at night, and I had a habit. I always go to the bathroom as part of my bedtime routine. So I'd go to the bathroom, then I would brush my teeth. Then I added taking vitamins to that as well, and then adding washing my face. And I tell you, I now, I've done that now for pretty much 2 or 3 months now. And so now I'm in that habit where at night when I'm getting ready to bed and I do all those things, and then I'm ready for bed. Because what I'll do is I'll go to my room, change into my night clothes, then go to the bathroom, do all of those things, and then I can climb into bed. And I've done it pretty much every night. I may have missed 1 or 2 days as far as washing my face, but everything else, all the other days, I've done it very consistently. And I did it because I stacked on one habit to another, to another. And doing that, that's helped me remember and helped me get into the habit to where it's ingrained. Now, just like I wake up in the morning, go to the bathroom, brush my teeth. It's such a habit, I don't even think about it. And that's about what this is. And that's what I'm going to suggest with making a New Year's resolution. If you're inclined to do that, think about what you would like to change, just one thing. Don't go, I've made mistakes many times, wanting to change my entire lifestyle and have all of these changes I want to make and trying to change everything at once. That's not happening. It especially for someone like me uh, that is dealing with trauma brain and executive dysfunction. So doing all of those things at once, changing everything at once, oh no indeed, that's not happening. So what I suggest, what helped me is I think about everything I want to do as far as changing, and then I take one thing at a time. and then I do that. And once that gets into a habit, then I add something. And that has helped. So definitely don't add everything at once, because you'll get overwhelmed and you get discouraged, and then you'll just throw in the towel. Like me, like I have, and like so many of others that I've heard about. For me, the change I want to make this year, two things. One, I want to read God's Word more. I have not read His Word nearly what I should and what I would want to if I was really into His Word. Because the more you read His Word, the more you want to read His Word. So I my ex, who is a big hypocrite for whatever unknown reason, liked collecting Bibles. Why? I have no idea. He always wanted to collect, whenever he came across a Bible, he wanted to get one. Whether it was a Bible from a used bookstore or a thrift store, or a type of Bible that caught his attention at a regular bookstore. He wanted to get it, so he'd get it. And in that collection was a 1 year Bible. In fact, I just read it this morning. It's this one. This is the one I use. It's the King James Version, and it breaks up the scriptures. You read Old Testament, New Testament, Psalm, and Proverbs passage each day. And it says it January 1st, January 2nd, and on and on. And that has worked for me the past 2 days, because I remembered we had it. So I went looking, and sure enough, it was easy to find. And which I'm thinking it's a God moment. Obviously, God put that in my memory that I remembered we had it. And that my ex had gotten it. I don't even know where he got it from. I don't remember. It's been so long, which that's a shame in itself that we had it and I didn't use it. But in just yesterday and today, getting up and reading it, that has helped. Obviously starting in Genesis and also Mark, for the New Testament. And I've already come across things that I've read Genesis a lot of times. I don't even know how many. And yet there are things that I just read this morning that was like wow moments. And that's what the Bible does. But my point is that it was structured, and I need structure as much as I don't like the thought of structure. That word is like, it's, yeah, there was one point that I repelled that word. But now I'm getting a little bit better at it. And because it's structured and it has a layout, this on this day, this on this day, that's actually helped me the last 2 days. So I'm using that to help me get my reading in the morning. And it takes, because I like to read a little slow, I'm capable of reading a little faster than normal. I've gone to classes that taught how to speed read, but I don't like speed reading. I would rather just read it slowly so I can comprehend it, because if I speed read, sometimes I have to go back and reread it again, so it defeats the purpose of speed reading. So I just read slow, and there are going to be days I know that I'm going to have to read it twice. Read a paragraph or two twice because I'm not going to comprehend it, because that's how my brain works. But that's okay because I'm still getting in the habit. And my second thing I want to do is read more. Just read books in general. Read more books in general. Y'all, I used to be such an avid reader. Um, I was in ninth grade and I was reading at a college level, and my kids are the same way. I give me a book and I'll read it. Uh, Back when I was younger, I would sit at the table eating my cereal and I'd be reading the cereal box because I read just about anything. I used to love to read, and I want to get back to that because obviously reading is knowledge and knowledge is power. Um, and I don't necessarily want to read just Christian based books, though that will be part of it. Obviously, being as I'm getting ready to start my nonprofit, and I'll be dealing with individuals, both adults and children, that have trauma. I'm going to want to learn more about trauma. So I'm going to be reading books like that. But I want to learn about a lot of things. So I want to read more. So my other goal, in addition to reading the Bible more, I want to read more books. And for that one, I'm not going to really set a goal yet of a specific amount per day, even like a chapter a day or a half chapter a day or something like that. Um, because I haven't really read for knowledge or pleasure in so long that it's going to take a while to get back into. So I think what I'm going to do is just, if I can just read equivalent of a half hour a week. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but again, someone who hasn't really read in decades, then a half hour a week is still more than what I was. Because, since I was married and all the abuse started and everything, I didn't have time to read. Part of it was because I was a mom, full time mom for the longest time, stay at home mom, and taking care of my kids. So, of course, a lot of moms don't have time to read. And which I don't regret that at all. They are my blessing. Um, and then when the abuse, both physical and emotional, stepped up, I was in such what is it? Survivor's mode, that to sit down and do something recreational as reading, no, there was no way I could. My brain would not be able to even handle it. Um, I barely was able to learn the things I needed to learn. When my first um, call center job, when I went through training, I had never done anything remotely close to call center training, work. So the training was so new to me. I would come home at the end of an 8-hour day, my brain was mush. Um, I couldn't think straight because it was just like, uh, and so there was no way that I could even think of reading for any reason over on top of everything else that I was going for. So, going to and doing. So, I got out of the habit, and it saddens me because like I said, when I was a young kid and a teenager, not only did I read, I wrote. I wrote stories, I wrote plays. I mean, the plays I wrote were basically how I kept my sanity. I'm convinced of that. Because my plays were basically a fantasy world that I had control of. Because from the time I was a young girl, especially through my teenage life, I didn't have much control of anything, or at least I felt like I didn't have much control. So my plays were a world that I could create and a world that I could control. And it also helped me think because a lot of times I'd write plays that had vaguely dealt with what I was dealing with at that moment in time. So it helped me think things through. So here I used to read and write, and I went from that to not at all. So it's going to take a while to get back into that. So that's why right now I have the goal of 30 minutes in a week. Because, like I said, 30 minutes a week is not a whole lot, but it's surefire but more than what I've been doing. And that brings me to the next part I want to talk about is when you're trying to make changes. Like I said, you can't do it all at once. You're going to get overwhelmed, you're going to get discouraged and depressed, and you're just going to throw in a towel. So the best bet is to start slow, but also give yourself grace when you mess up, because I promise you, you will mess up. You're human. Because there'll be days where you forget to do it, especially at first, when you're first trying to establish that routine. And so you forget. It's like, I forgot this. Okay, well, if you can do it, when you remember, do it. Even if it's out of the routine that you're trying to set up, do it anyway. Because just doing it alone will set that pattern in your head. And if you can't, if it's too late, or there is no time for the rest of the day or whatever, depending on what that is, be easy on yourself. There's always tomorrow. Wake up in the morning, say, okay, I'm going to do this, and then get it done. What's that has helped me because I am so hard on myself. I have the highest expectations for myself, higher than I have for anyone else in the world, I am the hardest on myself. And in trying to make changes like I've been doing over the past couple of months, I'm learning to give myself grace and not be so hard on myself. And I'm also learning to focus on the victories. So let's say you're adding 3 things to your routine. For example, if you do 2 of them, but you forget the one, the victory is that you did 2. Even if, let's say, you only did 1 of those 3, that's a victory. Find a victory in, a positive in what you've done. There have been days where I couldn't think to do anything. I would look at my place and say, oh, I need to do dishes, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I would have the whole day planned out. Like the night before, I think, okay, well, tomorrow I'm not doing anything, so I can do this, this, this. And I'd have the whole day planned out. Wake up the next morning, and my body's like, you gonna do what? You wanna do this? Ha! No. And it would be a struggle to get out of bed. So at that point, that's my body saying, okay, you need rest. So rest. And I would give myself permission to rest. If I didn't have anywhere to go, if there was nowhere that I had to be at that point, I would let myself rest a little while and stay in bed a little bit longer. And then when I did get up, after I ate breakfast and did what I had to, everything else, I would just focus on one thing, like the dishes. And another thing I got the idea from Simple Purposeful Living, was set a timer. Because you'd be surprised at what you can do within 10 minutes. Y'all, it's just me and my son right now. And even if every dish is dirty and in the sink, I can get those dishes rinsed off, loaded in the dishwasher, and the dishwasher started within 10 to 15 minutes. Depending on how much I cooked the night before or whatever. And I would just set a timer. Okay, 15 minutes. Let's see what I can get done in 15 minutes. And surprisingly, to myself, I'd get a lot done in just that 15 minutes. I remember the first time I did it, I set a timer for 15 minutes. Say, okay, I'm just going to do 15 minutes, because it was a day that I was so depressed and so down and really dragging, and trying to get myself to do something so I could have some sort of victory to focus on. So I set the timer, and I started on the dishes. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to finish the dishes, but if I could, I would have been happy if I'd have been able to just empty the dishwasher, because I had clean dishes in the dishwasher. And so I would have been happy if I'd have even just got all the dishes out of the dishwasher and started on emptying the sink when the timer went off. I'd have been happy with that. But not only did I empty the dishwasher, I was able to fill it back up, start it, and started cleaning off the counters when my timer went off. And I'm like, whoa, I had done all of that in just 15 minutes. And then, in the fact that I did all of that in 15 minutes, I had already started, so I just kept going. And so, that just doing that little bit gave me the energy. Because you know the saying, the less you do, the less you want to do. Well, in doing that little bit, it gave me the energy. And I'm thinking, well, I already started, so I might as well finish. So I cleaned off all the counters, wiped down the stove, and I even swept the kitchen. And that took me, I don't know, 20 minutes, because I was almost finished wiping down the counters when the timer went off. 15-minute timer went off. And I got a small kitchen, so it doesn't take long to sweep. And that has done such a tremendous job at helping me. Because then, after I did that, my body was still hurting. I had body aches that particular day. So when I have body aches like that and I'm not sick or anything, that's my body saying you need to rest, because I was going through a lot of stress over and above what I normally do. So after I did all of that, I was going to try to do the living room, but then I just couldn't. My body's like, no, you've done enough. So I sat down, and I was almost upset at myself. It's like, I can't even do it. And then I'm like, well, wait. I did the kitchen. I got the kitchen cleaned and straightened up. Maybe not spotless, but it's definitely picked up and a lot cleaner than what it was. And so, even on days that trauma will do this, where your body just says, no, even on those days, if you're able to do just one thing, focus on that. When your mind starts going, oh, but I didn't do this, but I did this, I didn't do that, but I did this. And that has done so much in encouraging myself to go further and make even more changes. Like I said, for the past couple of months, I've been thinking about it. I guess it's a bit. I have such a terrible concept of time sometimes. I could tell how much time has passed as far as minutes or stuff, but as far as days or weeks, it's hard for me to remember. But I would say about 4 or 5 months now, give or take, that I've been trying to slowly make changes. And in doing that, I can see how that's helped me in other areas. And now that I'm back at work, back in the office, as much as I don't want to admit it, that's actually helped. Because I'm a social person, and I didn't realize just how social I am until I went back to the office after being gone for a year and 9 months. Or a year and, 9 months. Because being stuck home during the pandemic and everything like that, I didn't go out much because I didn't go to work. I worked from home, and the less you go out, the less you want to go out. And I live on a third floor, so going up and down steps to go to this place, come home, that place, go home. No. you know, I would go out, do everything I needed to do for the day, come back, and then I'm home for the day, for the rest of the night or whatever. So if not getting out and going to the office, I wasn't already going out, so I went out even less. Because now that I'm in the office, I have my appointments in the morning. Like I have a chiropractic appointment and therapy during the week. I'll go to those appointments, and then I'll go to work, and I'm already out even after I get off of work. So I'm more inclined to do more stuff like go to the grocery store, run errands, or whatever, because I'm already out. Whereas when I was home, working from home, I wasn't going to the office, so I didn't get out as much. I wasn't as social. And like I said, I didn't realize how social I was, of a person I was, until I stayed home and then came back to the office. Since I came back to the office, I've been doing better mentally as well, because I'm able to get out of the house, because my apartment was not just a place I lived, it was a place I worked. And for me, that was messing with my mental health. I think that I do way better if I have to get out of the house. Um, Maybe I can do a hybrid type thing, one where I have the opportunity to work at home, but mostly work from the office. Although I don't know that that would even be good for me, because I like one or the other. I don't like this half thing. Um, but so just being back in the office this past month has also helped me, because going back to the office I had to set more goal routines, because I actually have to get dressed for work now as opposed to staying in my house clothes all day. Um, I mean, a lot of times, even if I was staying home, I'd throw on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt just to have clothes on and feel, alive. But now I actually have to get dressed, do something with my hair other than just stick it back in a ponytail. I have to look presentable for work in the office. You can wear jeans and stuff, it's call center, but still you gotta look presentable. So I started this habit of the night before getting my clothes ready for the morning, getting my lunch ready for the morning, because I didn't have that to do either, working from home. And so I have a nightly routine now since I've been back at the office that after a month has been a routine. It's become pretty much a habit where I cook dinner. What I usually do with my lunches is leftovers from dinner. And if I don't have leftovers, then I just make a sandwich and be done with it. So what I do is at night, before I get ready to go to bed, and I put all the food away, fix what I'm going to eat for lunch the next morning. I mean, I fix what I'm going to eat for lunch the next day that night, and put it in the fridge. And then I go lay out my outfit, pick out my outfit for the next day. That way, in the morning time, I don't have to sit there with morning brain trying to figure out what I'm going to wear. I already know. It's already laid out, hanging on the side, ready for me. All I got to do is get up, brush my teeth, fix my hair, get dressed, and I'm ready. Grab my lunch out of the fridge, put it in my lunch bag, and I'm out the door. So I've established that habit because of having to go back to the office, and that has helped me tremendously where I'm a lot more organized in the morning time. And I couldn't do that before with my ex around when I was going to the office because nights were always so tumultuous. Nights were way worse than, you know, nights were the worst part of the day. So even when I tried to get in the habit of making, the most I would do was have lunch ready the next day simply because I was putting food away, and putting it in storage containers and stuff. So by default, my lunch was ready. But trying to get organized for the next day, that was not happening because I was too busy trying to survive. And so I've noticed that getting into this routine is been a huge help. And I think part of why I'm thinking about it now, why I was rejecting routines and habits was because I don't like strict times like 3:30 this, 4 o'clock this, I don't like that because life happens and it's rare that you can stay on time, especially for me. Um, so, but routines don't have to be where wake up at 7, 7:15, get dressed, 7:30, eat breakfast, just as long, just the fact that I wake up, I get out of bed by a certain time, and from that certain time to the time I have to walk out of the house by 9:30 because I go to work for 10. So between time I get up, which I set my alarm for 7 and then 7:15, but usually I'm not out of bed until at least 7:30 unless I have an early morning appointment like with chiropractor or therapy. But between the time I get up and the time I have to walk out the door, I go to the bathroom, brush my teeth, um, get dressed, fix my hair, put on my makeup, eat breakfast, and then that's when, after I eat breakfast, that's when it's time to walk out the door. So grab my coat, grab my lunch and my mug, put it in my lunch bag, grab my jacket, put it on, and walk out the door. And I'm never late for work because I have that established pattern now. And but yet I don't have a specific time that I do everything. It's just I do this, then I do this, then I do this. So if putting a time to things at 7 this, 7:15 this, if that helps you, great, do it. But having a routine doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do that. Um, just a routine where you do this first, then this, then this, then this. That's a routine. That's something that helps you have comfort and stability because you know what's coming next. And in a world where you never know what's going to happen, a routine is actually comforting. So, one, just establish something. Just take one thing you want to change that, then go on to the next thing and stack one to the other. Give yourself grace when you mess up or you forget, and just focus on the victory. On days that you can't bring yourself to do much of anything because your body is telling you no, then give yourself grace and focus on the one thing that you were able to do. And then having a set routine doesn't necessarily mean strict timing. It can mean just a pattern of things you do within a set amount of time. Like between 7 and 10, get up, brush teeth, do my hair, get dressed, eat breakfast, out of the door at 9:30. That's a routine. So you guys have a wonderful week. And stay blessed, stay safe, and God bless.